All right, good morning, all. We're back to Code Ignite class, and we wanted to carry out this creating a post process right from onset. Uh, it is known that we are able to create this view, and we want to pass in data from here into the database, and then we call it and display it on the home page. And when it is displayed here, we are supposed to see a kind of message here that post has been created or something. And then we are supposed to see the post somewhere, maybe below the jumbotron. And then we create a link for the post, so that when someone clicks on the link, it takes him or her to view the complete post. Because this, we are going to select only the title. You only see the title here, and you want to see full information of the post, you click on it and it takes you to where you see the complete body of the post. But when you click on this create, this is where you create the post. This like you are inserting into the database from here. So let's go to the IDE, and this is the page create. Okay, this is the form that is displayed here. We all know how to create this in our previous videos, but then this little explanation may be important. Of course, you need this action and the post and the method. We are posting, right? And the action, we need a block and a block controller, and then we need a function called create. So before you even start doing anything, you have to come to your controllers and create a controller called block. We all know how to do this. We have already done it the other time. Please, the noise is really disturbing. So this is the block controller, and we mentioned a kind of wiring. You see, I don't have that text here. I asked somebody to write and send, and they said it is in the CD, it's not there. But then we need a wiring between the controller. This is what we are doing. We have a view. We have a view. A controller, and a model. We're going to interact with these three things. This is our view. Then we need a controller where we are going to write our business logic, and we need a model that will communicate with the backend. So this is controller. Before this controller, we already have a model. This we have done it last time. That's why you will not see me creating them. In the model, we have a block model. This is our model. And then inside the model, all these are like headers for the model. You must create them. So this is a class. Inside it, we specify the name of table we want to interact with, and then we specify the allowed fields. These allowed fields are those things we need to insert when interacting with this operation. So the first thing we need from our database here, if I describe the post table, this is what you see. Okay, let me use it first. Right, so this is what we have in the database. We need a title. This ID is auto incremental, we don't need it, but we need title, body, slack, and date created. That's why you see it here, title, slack, and what? Date created. Already this has been treated last time, but I'm just like a kind of refreshing. So forget about this method for now. This for the selection of the post. But for this one we are done. Then you move to block. In the block, you need to do two things for you to to create a wiring between your controller model and your view. So the first thing here in the controller, you need to instantiate your model, which I have done it here. You instantiate it. That means you call the name of your block from app models, and name of the model, block model. That means you want to use it in this controller class. So this is one. Next, you create a function called create. If you can recall, in the view, we have an action here, and this action calls block. This block means block controller, and the next is what? The function of the method. So if you are able to do that, that means you have mentioned this and the controller itself inside what? Inside your view. So you see, this I've written. You need to mention your controller, or you need to reference your controller, refer to your controller. This view, inside it, you need to refer to your what? Controller, comma, function. Which function? The function that does the insertion, right? The insertion function. Are we there? That is one. Now you write your business logic within the function, which is the insertion function. And also inside your controller, you need to refer to the what? The model. The model name, which is this we have done. This is controller at the top. Before the declaration of the controller class or controller class, you do what? You instantiate your model, or you initiate, or you may call it that. It's like you are importing it. Then the second part of this is, after this, then you create a what? Create an object. For the what? For the model inside the what? The function. And what is the function name? Create. So this, you see, kind of wording you are creating. So here in the create function, you create what? This is model object. So you need to create your model object, and when you create your model object, you use it inside your operations. Why is it that you guys are disturbing us here? I'm not understanding this, please. If you are not for the class, you can move in. Now, then we need to import to load the libraries for form validation, which is this. This is what is going to enable you to have a form validation library. Library is handy for you for usage. Now we are done with that. Now inside the block model, we have already mentioned that you need to do some things here. You need to specify the table name you are going to use. The table name from here is called what? Post. So you specify it here, which is the table name. Then you need to mention the fields you are going to collect from user. The fields. So these fields are mentioned or list out. List out the fields you are to use under the what? The allowed fields. Under the allowed fields. So that's what you do. This is what you do. Now after all this, let's do the actual business logic within the create method. We've already gotten the model and the object for the model. Then already this has been done, but then let me just do this for you to understand what we are doing. This is the actual method that carries out this is what carries out the actual insertion, and we have written this with you last time, so I'm not going to rewrite. This is the model you created here. The object. So you use the object and employ the services of save function or method. So now within it, you mention title and get request. This is where the post request is. You get your request from here, and then you supply the name of your variable. So what we did here is, this is our column here, title. Then now this, like saying, equals to, this is your object with your DB instance object, and then now you now call this request. Request from where? From UI. Anything entered here is there. That's the request. And the request, if you go back to the create method, the request is what? Post request. Yes. So from there, it gets the request, and then you now say get var. This is a method that will get the information supplied by user from the UI from here. Anything entered from there will be gotten will be collected here, and then you supply the name of the variable. If you check from your view, name of variable that carries the ID title. Name of variable for title here, the name is title. So that same name you are going to supply where? Here in the block controller. So if you mistakenly created something or insert something which is not there, then it's not going to work. So now this is like saying in Java, if you are doing Java swing, tst.getText.string is something. Then this is like a string you have created. Then you are now, this is your value and this is your what? Variable. That's just it. So you do for body same thing, just change the name of the variable, and then you do for Slack. For Slack we introduce a kind of method here which is URL title that converts title into Slack. And then for the date created, all right, for the date created we supply this method date, and then it will populate the actual date based on system time. This is an assignment I'm going to give you. This is working based on time zone. So probably when I supply the information and get it created in the DB, it might not be the same with our time. Reason, the time zone stipulated in the file called if you come to your Apache module and then you click on config, we have a file here called php.ini, that is .ini. If you click, come over here, check on time zone. Alright, so this is the time zone. And then if you look at it critically, okay, this is the time zone. Time zone PHP, this date, altitude, longitude. Alright, this is where I'm looking for. This you only if you are able to change this to your time zone. If you check yours, it's not going to be this. It will be something Europe and something, So please change it so that you have your own time zone. Alright, and I don't know whether the time zone I've selected is working, or you have to change the latitude, longitude or something. But then that's what you do. So it will give you the time zone you're working on, your own time zone. Okay, so now please, for this is saving. This is what we used to save. But then there is validation. The validation takes place like this. We introduce the instance, the DB instance, and we call the validate method. So within it, we validate this way, that it has to validate this for us to continue, because we said if. Now I said not if not. So for here, if it is not true, we load the page again, because this is our route to the page. We load it again if it is not true. You see, the reason why I am not writing is that you have already done this. So there's somewhere I'm heading to. So here, this validation works this way. The first thing here, we need a title validation. We need to validate that somebody did not just click on create without writing anything on title. So this is how the validation works. The validation works this way, that it is required. Like for body, we only said required. Anything you've written on the body, we have no issue with it. But for the title, we said required, and then we name it that the minimum length of body is what, 3, and the maximum is 225. That's 255. So somebody cannot just create a title like just less than 3 characters. Okay, so this is the validation. But all these are within the if statement and the validate method. But for else, you see, this is an inverted if. For the else, that means if nothing occurs here, that then do the saving. That means if there is no problem with regards to validation, save the data. Is it? Good. So this is understood by all. This is where I'm going to explain some things here. Before I explain, let me cut off. If I cut off this, I have to cut off from. Let me comment here so we understand it better. What have I done? Comment, right? I commented this. Okay, and then you have to do that in the view, in the home, I mean, because that's where I redirected you to. So how do I write comment in HTML? This comment in HTML, right? Most likely this might not work because we're having some kind of commands here. So let's see. Now we're done with everything, all the wiring between model, controller and view. Now if I write something here, let's say CCL Wednesday's meeting. This is to inform all CCL students that meetings have been scheduled to hold by every Wednesday, for example. You see what Bootstrap has given you? It's even checking for spelling. Spell checking. Okay? So if I click on create, you see it has created, but the problem is there isn't any kind of response to the user. Let's check from our DB here. You see this time zone is not yet correct. Please, Faiza, have you done the assignment given to you?
Yes.
Is it giving you correct time?
Yes, but
inside
code.
Inside the code?
Yes.
You write what?
When it comes to Nigeria, to give us the time.
Okay, maybe you explain that to us later.
All this couldn't work. No result.
Of course, there are two ways. That means you use the code igniter method. All right, it's okay. So you've heard it. This is what I want to be hearing from you guys. When an assignment is given to you, make sure you accomplish it. If you have an issue that denied you from accomplishing, then you report back. So we get if not, we'll be at one single point. So you see, it has inserted, but we need something here, right? We need something to be displayed to the user that your post has been created or something, or it is not being created or whatever. So what we do, let's go back to I told you I removed something here, right from the here, right from here. There's something we call FlashData. Please, let's explore it here. Yeah, FlashData. Where is it? I think here. Displaying successful message to the what? To the user after insertion. So this FlashData, this is important. This is what we call the FlashData. This FlashData is a session variable that is being displayed only once. Once it's been displayed, it's automatically being deleted from the what? Session. So it's attached to the session. When the session is off, when it is killed, the FlashData also goes away. Are we there? Yes. So in the controller, inside your controller, you call a variable what? Session, and then you trace this session, pick it from here, config services, and then session method. So this, now you created a what? A session variable. Thank you. So then you set it to FlashData. You set it to FlashData by saying set FlashData after mentioning your session, and then you have two parameters. One is the message to be displayed, the name of the session or name of the FlashData, and two, the message to be displayed. So this is what we have done here. This is it. We created a variable here, and then we created the FlashData, and we supplied two different parameters. One is the name of the session, created the name of the FlashData session, and two, the message to be displayed. Let me add something here in what? CCL lab. So we have lab here, right? Good. So this is what is going to be, if the insertion is successful, then it gets what? Inserted. Because please, let's understand something here. This is our else method, else block. So the else block begins from here and it ends here. So if this is successful, it will exceed this level of lines of codes to here and down to here. So now, Paul, this is what I said. You redirect it to where you want it to be. The first time we inserted this, after insertion, it's redirected to where? To the home page. So that's what you do. You redirect it to where it is expected. Okay? So if you want it to remain where it is, you mention the name of the page. So this / means home page. Yeah, it means home page. If you are not familiar with it, you can now write / and then you write the home page name, which is home, I think. Without the PHP, it will work. So here we're done with this. Now, for it to display, for it to be out, you need to go to where you directed it to. I've caught something here. So this is what you write for it to display. Okay. The first thing is that you need to mention that session you created. We created a session. Can you recall? So you repeat same thing. This is same thing you have done here, please, in the blog. This. There's no difference with what we have here in the home. Same. Only that there in the block, it's a code you write, PHP code, all right, within the class or function. But here it is in form of PHP. Of course, it is also PHP code, but in a view. This is a view. Well, the other one is a class. That's what I wanted saying. So this now PHP. That means we want it to be in the page, the PHP page, and then you then write this. Let me explain it, or maybe I will rewrite it for you to understand how it has been written. Here I want to check whether it is successful. Okay. So now I now wanted to write if statement like this. If, then I write the condition that I'm testing the condition here that if what, there is a method called isSet. isSet means is the validation okay? Is that validation, is that that session, the FlashData, after being validation wherever, if the operation is successful and that session is set, that it is on, then you do this. What are you going to do? You call your session and the variable you've given it. The session data, the session is session, and then the variable, which is what? Success. This is like, if you want to understand this arrow, it's like your dot in Java in most cases. So then you then move to call something the div. Before I call the div, let me do something for you to understand. The div is the alert div. So now if I echo the session, which is the session, and the session, as you know, the session comes along with the FlashData, flash variable, which is success, then it will echo without any alert. That is, without any, what we mean by alert. If I echo it this way within here, and I cut this one, okay, let's try it this way. Code Igniter framework, time zone solution. The solution to time zone problem in CIFO has been found by who? By a CCL student. Solution. Okay, so if I click, alright, please look up here before the Jumbotron. What happened? New post was what created here in CCL lab, but this is not how to showcase to display what, an alert, a message, because the user might not understand, he might not even see it. That's the reason why in here, before echo, we then introduce something called you introduce a div, and in the div you have a class, then you call it alert. What? Success. So let's try it again. Even though I haven't finished writing the whole alert. You see now? You see how it is now? All you need to do is to write it at the what? At the center part of your document, and you can do that using your what? Using text center, right? So you now say what? Text what? Text center, is it? Which I think will work. So you create this. What do you have here? So that's what you have. You may have many other properties for the session, for the what, for the alert. If you want it to be dismissible, you can write it dismissible, that is somebody can close it or something, or that you can check from your bootstrap or something. Now please, let's quickly check on this validation. I think we're done with that, right? I'll give you the required things here, all the pages and all that, for you to initiate your own. Now if somebody should click on this crate without writing anything, already we have inserted validation, but let's understand it before we let's move to this is where we have done validation, that we need this to be checked before anything, right? That this is required, that it has to say required, and then after you writing this, then you go to the page where you want to display the validation. The page is what? Create page, and then you come up with this. This is what you use to check. Let us read from our something here. Form validation. So the first thing you need to do is, if you want to carry out form validation in your controller and inside the page, before anything, when you create a function, you call this helper. It's a helper method. Then you mention form. That means you want to have libraries for form validations. After that, you move to your view. So now from your view, please, this you are activating your validation, activating the validation from the view. What do? You do this. You are checking if there is post. If this is a post request, that's what it means. If it is a post request, what are you going to do? Then you now call the config services validate or validation, and then list errors. This is how CodeIgniter has written it. So this, if you read your CodeIgniter manual, that's what you see. So here, this is your end if, and that's all. If you are not familiar with these things, this one and this is nothing but your shorthand for echo. Please, if you don't know this, get it ready. This is a shorthand for echo. If you want to say echo something and you write that, it will give you shorthand for the echo. It's a shorthand. You know shorthand, right? So now that's what we have done there. That's the only thing you need to do. This is what you do to activate the validation from your view, and that's how CodeIgniter forced to collect it. You don't need to write anything. That's how you're going to write. So if you do that and you carry out your validation before the insertion, now if you click on create, what happened? Validation is there, right? This field is required. The title field is required. The body field is required. I don't know if you are understanding what I'm doing. So then, this has more than one validation. First of all, it will check whether there's something. But what if I supplied only one character, and in here maybe I supplied, let me just pick up something like this, CCL Wednesday's meeting project, whatever, and at this point I supplied only one character. If I click on create, it will not. Reason: the length of the character is not up to what we have stipulated, what we have specified here. Here we specified that the minimum length is what, and the maximum is 225. That means if you enter more than 225, it is not a title, right?
Yes.
Close the door, you open something and just so that's why here we don't have any minimum or maximum. But then actually, even for the body, you need to have a minimum, because if somebody should write less than 3 characters, should that be a body?
No.
It shouldn't, because I think in English later a meaningful word begins from 3, right? Cut, post, right? Something like that. So if you want to do same if you want to add another validation, you only introduce this O. Do we know this key? This is an O something. You check this O, that O. You understand? So now you have your minimum length is what? Introduce it here. Let's say minimum of 5 or 8 even. Okay. So somebody shouldn't just come and write something and then without body. So if I have maybe a character here and I have just one character here again, it tells me that the body field must be at least 8 characters. The title field must be at least 3 characters. So please, a question: who has written this? Are you the one who wrote this? It's from the form validation you have already employed. You said form, you said helper and form within. So that's the form validation method. It's a library. The libraries, we have lot of various libraries. So there you employ only the form validation library. So now, but then please look at it very well. This is a sign of warning. And then why are we writing it in just in a blue something or black? Mostly form validations are done in what? Red. Thank you. So there is a need for you to do something. Okay. So then who can tell us where do we go and create this red something? It's from the view. Don't even think of any kind of beautifications or whatever. You go to the view and do it. Your controllers and models, their specialization is controller is specialized in business logic. Model specialized with DB interactions, right? So if I want to do something from these 3 sites, I'll go to where appropriate. Right, my business logic, I go to where? Controller. But then I have to do some kind of wiring between controller, alright? The controller, as we have done it here. Between this two, where is it? Okay, that's zero. I didn't know that. I forgot that I've updated the page. I was trying to see only 3 things mentioned. Yes, this is what we have done. But what we are trying to do is just from view. So go to view and do some kind of touches there, and then you get it done. If you come to view, what do we want to do here? I think in Bootstrap there's something called alert danger. That's what you use. You now say div. Please, have you guys been reading this something? Alert what? I think danger, something like this. The first one is not correct, right? So then you pick up what you have here. Pick it up and paste it within. So let's test. Can you see? So with this, even if you don't know about this alert danger, you can create it yourself. Just create a div and give it a style. Is it not give it a style? And the background color should be black. I mean, should be red, and the fore color should be what? Huh? Should be black or white or anything. So with this now, you now coming up with realistic designs. You understand? So that user should be at alert that something is wrong here. You understand? Something is wrong there. That's what you do. And then now, if you should write something here, let me say CI4 backend presentation. Let me just repeat it here and create. So Paul, you see how it's routed here, and the fact that I know I'm going to route to the home page, that's where I have inserted my flash data. Understand? But for the validation, I did the validation there within the page, because you only move to another page if you have a successful operation within the page. So if it is not, that's the reason why we said this. Please, let's understand this. Here, if it is not valid, if they are not valid, then you don't go out of here. So what in the codes have done that is this. Come down here. This is our create method. This is the form validation we imported. This is our method, the object that we created for the blog model, and this is the validation, right? We call the DB instance, and then we begin the validation. Is it? So this is our requirement for validations. The rules, right? Now we said, if not true, if not true, here we said this validate this. If this validation is not, that's the meaning of this if not true. Because please do not be carried away with this. This is exactly what we have done. If I say if and I write that like this, and then I'll write else here. Okay? Is it? Now all the conditions, my conditions for this if statement should lie within here. Is it? So that's what I did here. But the problem here is that the condition I'm having, it's inside an array. So I have to, break this into for me to write the array correctly. I don't know if you are getting it. So now the condition is if this occurs, then do this. Is it? So what is it that I'm going to do? This. That means if the validation is not correct, that is if it is not correct, that's why I wrote it here. If not true, if it is not correct, to load the page again. Are we there? If it is not correct, load this page again, because this page is what we created it inside pages in the view, and then the name of the page is what? Create. So we loaded it again. That's why if you do something like this, if you come to the view, we refresh, make sure that our codes are okay. If I did not write anything and I click on this, it will load it again, and then the validation takes place and you see the messages. But then if the operation is successful, I need to move to another page. Or even if I'm to stay within the page or maintain the page, loaded, rendered, the rendered page, then there is a need for what? An alert. An alert that will come out. And stipulate that something has been done. So now we're going to create, by our tomorrow's lesson, we're going to study how we remove the data from here to our home page. You see, from the DB, this is what we have. This is what we have. So we study how are we going to pull out this to the DB, to the home page, and then we create links and attach to them, such that if you click on any of these titles, you only see this, you not see this body, you only see this title. If you click on any of the title, then it navigates to the complete post where you see what the author has written, and with that we're done. Then you begin your project. right? And then please, somebody has already gotten the workaround for this to be correct. So meet her and then get information from her. Thank you all for watching.